Good.
Hey, hey, JP.
Rodney, welcome again. Let's
Good.
see if people can hear us. Give us a shout quickly, everyone, if you can hear us. Let's just know. I'm so excited. I see the comments
Yes,
are coming
good.
in. All right.
Robbie in Chicago, I think, can hear us.
555. Great.
Okay,
Well,
great.
well, Rodney, I just want to say I think I'm very grateful for these webinars because it's at least once in a while that I go out and shave and have my hair cut. So today I look respectable again.
Yes, good. That's worth it. That's worth
Right.
it.
Welcome, everyone. Very happy to see all the universe almost here. I've already seen we have people all the way from Pakistan to US, Kenya. I see Uganda, Egypt, South Africa, Colombia. Wow, it is always so amazing, this community, right? In the
Amazing.
craziness where the world is at the moment, to come together in this moment. And we have all one thing in common. And tonight it's SEO. So it's really great to see everyone here. And what time is it over there at your side, Rodney? And where are you?
I'm in Oklahoma City in the USA. It is 10 o'clock a.m. And so I'm just getting my day started. This is my morning, my big morning presentation, I guess you could say.
Right. And I'll introduce myself also very, very soon. But I think we've got a big group of people here, and we should get rolling. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Right. So welcome, everyone. Tonight, today rather, our topic is about ranking higher on Google and the practical steps to optimize and strengthen your website's SEO. And before we talk a little bit about that and we introduce ourselves, just a few things. The number one question we get during a webinar is, will this webinar be recorded? And the answer is a definite yes. It is recorded. You will get a link after this webinar to rewatch. So in case you have to put the kids to bed or you have to switch off because the boss just walked in while you are working, don't have to worry. You're going to see everything there. And I'm going to share also a few more channels that you can follow in case you want to learn more about that. So it's definitely recorded. You will definitely get a link to it. You don't have to worry. You will miss a thing. A question we got last time was is there any possibility for enabling live captions if you don't understand or you cannot always follow English? Unfortunately, this is not yet a feature within the streaming platform. I'm pretty sure it's something for the future. AI is making a way for everything at the moment. But we will upload the video later to Namecheap's YouTube channel, and there you will be able to have it with captions. So sorry if that is a hurdle for you today, but don't worry, you will get all the access that you will need for that. So I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is JP. I work for Brizzy, and I'll tell you more about Brizzy soon. I have a very colorful past in the back from many, many years. Started in law, and for the last few years in my life, I've been working in website development, education, and content creation. And I work for Brizzy. And more than over to Rodney.
Yes, my name is Rodney. I am an SEO specialist for EasyWP, and I've worked for Namecheap for several years now. I come from over 10 years in SEO and content marketing. I've worked with small businesses, large corporations, all kinds of content creation and SEO. And now I'm very, very happy to be the content editor for EasyWP and our blog there, and to get to host these webinars with JP. We've also got our team that's going to be available in chat today. So I'm here to answer your SEO questions. JP's here to answer your SEO and design questions. But we also have some members of the Namecheap team that are kind of backstage. We have Kate Vorinovich, who's our marketing manager, Kate Ostrova, who is a product coordinator, Anastasia Dianchenko, who is our PR manager, and then Nika, who is a junior product manager. And they will all be here to answer your product questions in the chat. So if you're an EasyWP customer, if you're new to EasyWP, if you're considering our hosting services, please look for them in the chat, and they'll be here to answer your product questions as we go along.
Great. So what we are going to cover today, and as you know, we've talked a lot about SEO or a little bit about it already, is how you're going to use keywords and how it's going to count with Namecheap's free Relate SEO tool on the EasyWP WordPress hosting. We're also going to look at tips and tricks for optimizing your WordPress site for search engines. And then we're also going to look at how to use SEO with the Brizzy website builder on EasyWP to improve your Google ranking. We're going to try and keep it very practical. And of course, there's a lot of technical parts therein as well, but we don't want to squeeze in too much. It's a little bit of overload. So we're going to try and give you all the nitty-gritty that can get you going. And then, do you have a question? That is what the comment section is for. You can ask your questions, and as Rodney just introduced the team in the background, they will help you where they can. And we will also do a Q&A at the end. Before we do that, here is a great way for you to get involved and get more interaction with the WordPress community, and that is the EasyWP Telegram channel. And we really encourage you to take some time and join this channel for a number of reasons. I just mentioned it's a great chance to interact with the WordPress community, and you can ask questions and you can get advice there about your WordPress site. The EasyWP team also regularly shares useful bite-sized WordPress tips and organizes Q&A sessions with different experts from a variety of areas like SEO or social media. And besides, once you join, you will be able to ask any questions you might have after this webinar. So if it's not answered during the Q&A today, run out of time, or something you want to follow up, then definitely you can do that in the Telegram channel as well. And we will provide all the useful links and educational material there after the webinar is over. And we will also share a link to Namecheap's 6-module SEO course after the webinar is over, all in the Telegram channel. So if you want to have access to the Namecheap 6-module SEO course, then definitely you have to join the channel. That's a little bit of an incentive there for you. Right. And then we are talking prizes today. So what is a webinar without a price, right? So there's a lot happening. And the first one is a free 30-minute one-to-one online consultation with EasyWP's SEO expert, Rodney Brazil. And Rodney, what is that going to mean, this one-on-one consultation?
Well, I'll get a little bit of information about whoever is the winner. I'll get a little bit of information about your business or your website, what your obstacles are. And then I'll take a look at everything. I'll take a look at your rankings, at your site, at your if you're just in the planning phases, I'll take a look at what you've written so far. And then we'll get together on a live call, just you and me, and we'll go through your questions. I can give you recommendations about things that you can optimize to make sure that your website is set up for success.
Great. And then more prizes. There's a free Namecheap's Relate SEO Pro for 1 year, and you'll learn more about Relate SEO during today's webinar. And then some secret surprises, which will be revealed, 5 random winners and the team in the background. They will be working on that. And then also exclusive discount on EasyWP plans for all attendees. And with that, this deal, you get early access to the Black Friday, Cyber Monday prices on the yearly turbo and supersonic prices. Now, coming to this point, and you've heard about this webinar, and you don't really know who is EasyWP and who is Brizzy, let me quickly just tell you about these two companies. So EasyWP is a managed WordPress hosting and offers fast setup, affordable plans. You can just look at the pricing, automatic updates, daily backups, free SSL, and a very user-friendly dashboard. And this falls all under Namecheap. It's perfect for beginners and small businesses, and you can upscale from there and secure WordPress hosting solutions. That's a huge deal, and you will see from the packages, it's great way to get started. And if you already have a business, great way to grow that business. Now, with your WordPress hosting, you also need a builder to make sure that you get your product to the market and that it is visible, and you want something that works out of the box and it works great and it's easy to use. And that's where Brizzy comes in. So Brizzy for WordPress is a drag and drop website builder plugin that simplifies your creating websites and making it sure that you have responsive websites and no coding required. With that, you get Brizzy Pro included in your turbo and supersonic deals with EasyWP. The free version is there, but with the Pro, you get a theme builder, you get block builder, you get WooCommerce builder, pop-up builders, and there's hundreds of templates for you to get started. In fact, tonight we'll be looking at one of them as well. And these two products together, great team for us, and that's why we teamed up for this tonight to help you in growing your business and understanding how all the different aspects of building websites come together. And this is a little bit about EasyWP as well as Brizzy. So I think, do you have anything on the exclusive deals? We had a question, and I remember the question was, where is the link to the Telegram channel? Check there in the chat. It is pinned at the very top. So these are pinned there. You can have a look there if you are not sure where to get that. Or you can just ask the team again, but all the answers are there. Great. So the winners will be selected. They will be at the end of the show. And then also the exclusive discount on EasyWP. The link can be used, like we said earlier, for the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And that is for the turbo and supersonic plans. Right, before we jump into our big topic for tonight, for those people of you who have joined late, and I see there's 444 watching now. Thank you for that information. It's always good to see that. Again, for everyone that's joined late, this is being recorded, so don't worry if you need to jump out or you have to go to bed early tonight, because tomorrow is a big day. I've seen there are people all the way in Australia. You are already in Thursday. Most of us are still stuck here in Wednesday. Thank you for joining and putting the time aside. We really appreciate it. You will have a link to this recording afterwards, so you can watch it again after that. Great. So I think, Rodney, let's move on over. And we are talking about SEO. Is this the right slide for you?
That is the right slide. And as we're getting started on this, before we really dive into that main topic of our session, I want everybody that hasn't already to share, share your biggest pain point with SEO in the chat. Because one of the prizes that JP mentioned is a one-on-one SEO consultation with me. And we needed some way to pick the winner. And so we're going to pick that at random from people who share their number one SEO challenge in the chat. So just in a couple of words, whether you currently have a website or you're in the planning phases of creating a new business, just be as specific as possible. Share your biggest SEO challenge in the chat. And then our friends from EasyWP behind the scenes will randomly select a winner that we'll announce at the end. But that's how you enter that contest to win a consultation, is by sharing your number one SEO challenge. So let's get to the demo. So I know a lot of people here are already somewhat familiar with why SEO is critical for business. And if JP, if you can go ahead and make the slide the main part of the screen again. And I can go through the slides with everyone. So SEO is the process of, yes, ranking higher on Google and other search engines and attracting more organic traffic. There's three types. We have the on-page SEO, which is largely what we're going to be talking about today. That involves optimizing your content. It's the most controllable component of SEO. And that's what we're really going to focus on today. But we also have our off-page SEO, which is building those backlinks and that external engagement that you can do with other websites that help build up your visibility. And also the technical SEO, which EasyWP hosting is taking care of a lot of that for you. We make sure that all of our technology really meets top SEO standards in terms of site speed and keeping WordPress up to date. But that is another component of SEO to consider. And on the next slide, we can look at how Google rankings impact your business. And so the top search results gather the most clicks. And yes, in a traditional way, this goes with being in that top number one, number two, number three slot on Google. But this also applies to a lot of those rich snippet results that we're seeing today, not only on Google, but in a lot of your AI chatbots. all of those results, the closer you can get to the top. If you can have your content linked within those first 2 or 3 citations that any search engine gives, that gives your site a much bigger chance of getting those visitors that you're going out for with your content in the first place. And so, as the slide says, higher rankings equal more leads. The vast majority of people click on those first few results that they receive. And so, the higher you can get in those results, the better that's going to be in terms of leads for your business. And so, that's why we're doing this today, is to help you get the leads that you want and more of them. And we can go to the next slide, JP, now. So we want to bust a few SEO myths. Keyword stuffing boosts rankings. That is incorrect. We are going to talk a lot about keywords today, but we in no way encourage anybody to stuff the keywords too many times into a website. SEO is a one-time job. That's another myth. We can make all of these optimizations, and they do help long-term, but optimizing your website is an ongoing responsibility, and something that you'll want to watch not only from the time that you set it up, but you'll want to monitor those results and look at them over time. A few other myths: backlinks don't matter anymore. That is incorrect. Quality backlinks are still very, very important. Meta descriptions impact rankings. And while meta descriptions don't impact rankings, they can affect other things, and they're a great place to summarize your content. So we are going to start talk a little bit about those today. So I think we've spent enough on the housekeeping, JP. I'm going to share my screen now, and we are going to talk a little bit about keywords. And I'm going to bring up our demo site that JP and I have been working on this week. Let's get it going here. There we go. Here we are. All right. So here is a website that JP and I have been working on this week. Just for demo purposes, we are looking at a website for a design agency. And for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to say that this is in Austin, Texas. I'm in the US. Austin, Texas is a really cool city, just a few miles, a few hundred miles south of me. So we've got our design agency based in Austin, Texas. So the first thing that we want to talk about is keywords. And the thing that I want to mention is, if you don't talk about your business the way that most people would talk about your business, then most people are never going to find you online. And that's why keyword research is so important, because you need to talk about your business in the same way that others are already talking about your business. And so we've got to figure out what this language is through research. And I have pulled up the SEMrush free keyword magic tool. There are dozens of keyword tools that are available, but I really like the SEMrush keyword magic tool. This is in my free account. I do not pay for a subscription on this account that I am logged into, and I'm going to get really good keyword information. So my business, I'm a web design agency. So I'm going to type that into our keyword magic tool here. And with this free tool, as you can see, I immediately get a small handful of the top ranking keywords that I can use in my website. And so it's my job as an optimizer or as a business owner to make sure that these are relevant. And when I look down this list, I can see web design agency. That's absolutely relevant. Globally, do we have this global or US? Oh, we've got this set to the United States. So in the United States, 14,000 people are looking for a web design agency every single month. And so that lets me know that this is a great keyword that I definitely want to use on my site. We see other variations here, such as e-commerce web design agency, WordPress web design agency. And so the human part that comes into this is looking at these list of words that these tools give us and making sure that they are absolutely relevant for our business. Because just because somebody's searching for a term doesn't mean it's going to be the best one for us. So now I'm going to go and show you this list of the top 15 keywords that I want to optimize my site for. As you can see, I've decided web design agency with a really high search volume is here at the top. We've got the name of our demo agency here. And in just a couple more minutes, I'll show you how to use these. But I do want to note that I've got these saved in our Relate SEO tool that we have from Namecheap. You can save these keywords anywhere, but the Relate SEO tool makes it really, really easy to keep track of them. And when you subscribe, it automatically checks your ranking for these terms every single day. So once you've picked and identified, based on your research and your knowledge of your business, those 15 keywords that you want to rank for, that customers are searching for when they want to find your business, you can save them right here in Relate SEO. And that way you don't lose track of your targets. Okay, so I am going to switch over now to show you how to actually optimize your websites with these keywords. So I'm going to go to our homepage here, and we're in WordPress. And so a lot of this demo that I'm going to give you today is based on WordPress because this is EasyWP. But really, these rules apply to any content management system. So I'm logging into our demo homepage here. As you can see here at the top, we've got the name of our page. We have our option where we can edit that page with Breezy. But I'm going to skip right down to the Yoast SEO field, which we've got installed. And for our homepage, if you'll remember, we've got Web Design Agency. And we've decided that that's going to be our highest priority keyword. So I'm going to put Web Design Agency right here in this field so that the Yoast SEO tool knows that that is the phrase that we are going for. And we can see just exactly what our page might look like in the search results area, but we want to edit that. So I am going to change the meta title first. And so even though we've auto-populated here, I'm going to make an edit. And we are going to change this to Welcome to Lindor Design Agency, the premier web design solutions. And that's not quite what we want because web design agency is our primary keyword. So we are going to change this to Welcome to Lindor, a premier web design agency. And that's got our primary keyword right there in the meta title. You can see that it's going to be there. You can see the name of our website, which this says demo site, but typically that would be the name of your business. And now we're going to populate our meta description. And so as you can see, Yoast is telling us that we have not yet provided a meta description. So we're going to add one right here, your premier web design agency offering innovative web solutions and virtual expertise in Austin, Texas. Now, this is something where you get into making a critical decision about what keywords are right for you. Do you want to target an international audience or are you targeting a local audience? With this page, we very specifically want to target people searching for a web design agency in Austin, Texas. So since we've got that geographic term added to that, added to our keyword list, we're going to put it in the meta description. We might consider putting it in the SEO title, and we're definitely going to consider putting it on the page as well. So something to keep in mind with this meta description, as we mentioned earlier, the meta description isn't necessarily going to make your website it isn't necessarily going to make your website rank higher than others. However, that information is going to present it on the search engine results page, and the keywords that you put there will be considered by some algorithms together with the meta title and the other information that you put on that page and on your website. So it's important to get that information correct, and it's important that it's not too long. The Yoast SEO tool will give you advice on that. But just in general, if you're not using Yoast, you want to keep that meta description between 150 and 160 characters. All right, so what else are we going to do with this list of keywords? Well, we want to edit the headers on our website. And to do that, I am going to come in to the Breezy tool. And I'm going to look at the content that we have on this page. And as it's loading, there we go. So we've got our H1. So I'm going to talk for a minute about header tags. Headers, tags, you'll see a lot of times in your CMS identified as H1, H2, H3. Your theme will likely format these in different ways, with H1 being the largest, H2 being slightly smaller, H3 body being other ways that content can be tagged on your page. And it's important to follow some rules with these. So with these headings, you want to have very clear, concise information included with them. And you also want to have your keywords included in these areas whenever relevant. And going back, we don't want to stuff irrelevant information or erroneous information into these fields, but it is important to have something that's very descriptive and very relevant about your website. So as you can see, H1 is what we have here. We have web design agency, which is our primary keyword that's already populated there. That's exactly what you want. So coming down here, we have let's create something together. And that's a really catchy headline. And so that could make sense as an H2, but it's not quite optimized the best it can be for SEO, because we want to have something very specific about our business in that H2 because it's such an important area. So I'm going to change this, and referring back to my longer list of keywords, I'm going to change this to our expertise in web design and development. There we go. And then that, let's just go with expertise. So we've got expertise in web design and development. And so that brings in additional keywords that we want to target on the page. We know that people that are looking for a web design agency are searching using words like web design and development. And so adding it to this H2 is just another way that we can work those very, very valuable words, that very valuable language, that relevant language for our users into our website. And as you can see, we've already got some other things here on the page that have been populated: modern designing, marketing strategy, website development. Those are all things that our business does. Making websites without touching the coding, making websites, how to make a website. That's a question that comes up in search when people are looking about how to make a website and might need the assistance of a web design agency. So these are all important things that we can include in these header sections. And just a couple of other things to keep in mind that are just general rules for great structure on a website. You want to make sure that on any given page that you only have one piece of text tagged as H1, and you want to make sure that that's the most important headline on your page is tagged as the H1. And then after that, you can move into your H2s, you can move into your H3s. And for accessibility reasons, you never want to have an H3 come before an H2 or an H4 become before an H3, because these are all ways of outlining your page so that search engines can understand it, yes, but so that people can understand these pages as well, and so that they can be accessible to users who are trying to understand how the content on your page is organized. So let's exit this page for now. We're going to go back to our dashboard. And I want to talk just a little bit more on about keywords and how they affect the URL structure of your site. Because having a keyword in the URL that aligns with the information in your H1, that aligns with the information that's in the content of your page, is very, very critical. And so to show this example, I'm going to jump over to our blog that we've created on this site. And so as you can see, I've got a blog in progress here. And the topic is inclusive design, creating digital experiences for everyone. And so we decided to write about this blog for our demo agency because somebody that might want to use our design services, that aligns with our values. At this design agency, inclusive design is very, very important to us. And so we decided to create some content about it so that we can try and connect with people who might want to be a future client. So we've got our blog started up here. And as you can see, we've got our Yoast tool. I've already told our SEO tool here that inclusive design is the primary keyword that we're going for. And we've got some other information set out here. But I did want to show you right here in the Yoast tool, we can edit the URL slug of the page. Now, we want to make sure that our primary keyword is included in this URL slug, along with being in our H1, which we've got that so far. But I just wanted to show you here how we've been very careful about crafting this URL slug to include an additional keyword as well. So we've got digital experiences also included here. But just kind of a little SEO tip, the words that appear closer to the left of that URL slug are going to have the most value when the algorithms, when Google and other algorithms are looking at your page. So your most important keywords need to be further to the left. And as you get further out, they get less and less important. And so for me on this page, while I do want to include the term for everyone in my title, because that helps people know exactly what the article is about, it's not as crucial for the actual URL because it's not one of my primary target keywords like inclusive design and creating digital experiences. So I'm going to use that Yoast SEO tool to just clarify and make that URL just a little more simple. I'm going to save that here. And as you can see, we've got a green light here. And so this is a really good overview of all the places that you can include keywords in your website to optimize them. I know that this is a very, very brief introduction, but we have other content on our website as well. We've got blog posts about how to do that keyword research. But really, everything you've seen here today, when I'm looking at a site for the first time, are the very first areas that I check when I go in. I do the keyword research and I go into all these fields that I've shown you today to really try and optimize the site and get us off to a good start. So JP, that is all I've got on keywords for now. And I'm curious to know more about how we can use Breezy to optimize some of those other areas we talked about.
Great. But Rodney, before we go there, reading through the comments, and I know we at Brizzy had a call, I think a few weeks ago, and the topic of SEO came up. And it was almost as if we all disagreed about something at some point. Right? There's a lot of SEO, and I see in the comments there are people who say they are beginners. They don't even know what is a keyword. Then there are people saying this is baby stuff, which is definitely, if you've created a few number of websites, this is baby stuff. But many people do one website in their life. This is scary stuff. I fully understand it. Especially if you were doing websites, maybe you drafted your first website 6 years ago. This wasn't even a thing, actually, right? It was very high level back then. So my question is, and I know we're jumping maybe to Q&A already in advance. How much of SEO that we see online is hype, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I would say, I've been optimizing websites for over a decade, and I can say that a lot of people see things in a different way. And that makes sense because everybody that optimizes a site, everybody that works on a website has a different experience with what they see. And so what I would say is when you really get down to it, if you are using the language on your website that your potential clients are using or that your potential customers are using, that language is going to help you connect with them. Yes, these are simple beginner areas where you can include this, but you can take this knowledge that you get from your research. We call it keywords, but really it just means language. All of these algorithms, even the new things, even the Chat GPT and all of the new ones, they're language models. They use words as symbols to interact with people. And the same thing is true of traditional search engines. And the same thing is true of you building any kind of website or app and trying to communicate with people. So really, keyword research comes down to language research and getting that right. Does that answer your question, JP?
Yes, yes. I think that definitely covers a lot, and my battery just died. And I want to add on that.
Okay.
A few people were saying this is a pre-recorded webinar, and I was thinking, to prove to people it's not pre-recorded, something will go wrong, and there it does, right? So yes, Rodney, definitely. Now, I think it's very important, your one-on-one session. This is where SEO becomes more detailed, right? This is
Right.
just skimming the surface.
Right. It is just skimming the surface. And this is, I think, a good time where I'm going to share my screen again. Let me see here. I'm going to present my screen again. Where are we? Nope. Share screen. Okay. Because I want to show you our Relate SEO tool again, just briefly. I know that we're here to ask questions, and we've got some things to look at from Breezy as well. But I did want to just hit, because whether you're a beginner or you've been doing this for a long time, this tool, which you get a 3-month free trial if you buy an annual plan, an annual hosting plan from EasyWP, you get a 3-month free trial of this tool. But it really is great because no matter what your knowledge level, it walks you through a list of tasks that you can do to optimize your website, even if that website has been up for years or you're launching it for the first time. I want to log in here just really quickly to give people an idea. You've seen the keyword list that I've got saved in here, but you've got a list of all of the tasks that you can do to optimize your website, like create a Google account, start creating content on X, social media tasks. And what's really, really cool is I'm going to go to this Google account. I'm going to say complete this task now. And it gives you an explanation of why this task is important, the benefits that you will get. It gives you basic steps on how to get started and how to create a Google account. And then it gives you a video. So if you've never done it before, it gives you the resources you need to create that first Google account, start getting connected to analytics and Search Console. But then if you are experienced with that, you can skip the video, follow the steps, and then click finish. And you know that you've taken that step that you need to take for your website. And it goes through this with multiple search engines that you can connect your site to, local marketing if that's relevant to you. But then there's also a text optimization tool. I know you said people in the chat mentioned that what I was doing was pretty basic stuff, and it is. But we have a text optimization tool that's part of Relate SEO where you can go, pick a couple of your 15 top keywords, put in the content that you want to optimize, and it will go through all of these optimizations for you. And it will list why it listed them here in this list here over on the right hand side. So if you are kind of at an intermediate level with your knowledge of SEO, you can try this tool, see the advice that it gives you, see the logic that was used to make those optimizations, and then decide if those are right for your website. And if they are, get them published. And it's as simple as that. I think you're muted, JP. Are you here? You muted, bud?
Thank you. There we go. Right. What I love about webinars. Thank you very much, Rodney. And so coming back to the part that I will work on quickly is, I see people are talking about Wix, Shopify, Elementor, and I'm from Brizzy, but every page builder out there, you use the one that works for you. This is a very interesting world we live in. I thought at one point a few years ago, the page builder market had reached its limit. There's no more space. And, then AI came along and there are new ones coming along every day. And you find the one that works for you. So what is important when we look at page builders, and this was the conversation, I'm jumping around a little bit, that we had as a team a few weeks ago. We were talking about SEO and where do you start? How do you teach people what is SEO? There are millions of articles online at the moment about SEO. and they can all be very confusing, and they can all be a little too much. And one of our team members said it starts with content. And this is kind of where Rodney just mentioned about the keywords, what is content, but there's a few other tricks. And I'm going to use about 10 minutes of your time on just a few tricks that you can do to optimize your website. And that means image optimization and how you can fool external requests for video links. It's just a few small tips. There are plenty more. And this is just to give you that extra little bit of practical advice within your builder that you are using, whether it's the WordPress Gutenberg editor and that you are using. Keep these few things in mind, that it all starts with very good content. Now, let me just see where I am, and I'm going to grab a window here. This is StreamYard Studio. I think it's this one. Let me just see. Nope, this is not it. Stop screen. Okay, let me open quickly one here. I'm just going to load my screen. Okay, so Rodney, I'm going to share now. Let me know once you see. I'm going to just share my entire screen. Can you see? Yeah, I think so, right? I did. Okay, good. So this is the website that Rodney had shown you earlier that we had worked on. And I think one of the most important things that so many people overlook that when they are working with a website is they make this amazing, fancy desktop website, and they completely neglect tablet and mobile. And that is a very important feature. When we talk about speed, you will often see that your speed optimization will look very good for desktops. And then when you go to mobile, something isn't wrong there. And that's important. Every builder on the market in the last 4 or 5 years have worked towards making sure that responsive building is very, very important. That's tip number 1. So I'll just click here on Edit Page with Brizy, takes us into the Brizy Builder. And I want to add one very important feature here that Brizy introduced recently, which is also going to help greatly with speed and optimization. And we call that a compiler. In the past, when you used to load a website, it will take a second or 2 or 3 for that website to load as all these images and data is fetched. But with our compiler, it's a matter of click and it's there. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. I couldn't really believe it myself at the beginning, but it's really that great. And that's how it works. That also helps a lot. But with Brizy, now we're going back to the responsive. Point number 1 is you have these great design areas in which you have control, finer control over your desktop, your tablet, and your mobile. So if you look at this website that we have here, what a stunning agency website. It's very modern, a little bit of minimalism in there. You see, we use monochromatic images, make it look really, really smart. This is a very, very snazzy designed website. How does it look on mobile? And you always lose something on mobile, a little bit here and a little bit there. But what you see here on mobile is that it's nicely stacked. It looks really good. How does it work? And I'm going to come back to these images in a short bit. So let's hop here to the top. And I'll go back to my desktop and I'll click on it. And here is my toolbar that gives me access to everything on screen right there where I'm working with this title. And as I go through these settings, you can see there are plenty of settings here. Going into your responsive view, and I click on it, you will see I have a reduced toolbar. And that's one of the great features we brought in, is no unnecessary clutter there to confuse you as to what you can use for tablet and mobile. And you can make changes here and it will not affect the rest. So you have all that fine control in your tablet and in your mobile. Really helps with it. One great feature, let me go to this one over here. Let's look at these images here. We have these 6 images. Now, you know they're going to be stacked, but what happens is because we have these 3 in a row, what happens on mobile is that we get this design. And we can make very easily on-page changes. I'll grab this column. Look how I drag that. And boom, how beautiful. Now, maybe a few too many images, which is not always good for mobile devices. And you can easily go ahead and hide some of this. So my first tip is you need to spend time on making sure that your mobile and tablet looks good, and you have to bring in images that works well on that, and make sure that it is well designed for that. Get a good builder for that. Gutenberg editor by itself is not always the greatest thing. You get great add-ons like Stackable and Green Shift that can help you with that. And then all these other page builders, everyone focused on responsive design. The second great tool that has come into play in the last few years, and this is where Rodney had looked at the titles here at the top, is AI text generation. You get AI everywhere, and you should use it when you are working with it. So I have a web design agency, and this is my H1 title that I have here at the top. So how can I use AI right inside Brizy to get a great H1 title? I go to my elements, and I'll bring in a text. I'll drop it. Okay, and there's some placeholder text. So first I'll change the color to white. And again, everything on screen. And I'll go here to typography, and I'll put it on H1. Oh, pretty big, right? That's just the placeholder. But from the toolbar here on the left, that's maybe a little small on your screen, you click on the AI text, and this is where we get the AI text generator. Now, I love AI. I use it all the time. I try all kinds of prompts. People are always very technical and scientific about the prompts. I just go wild on them and see what works, and I'll often find something that works. And you can be specific. You can really be specific because the AI understands what you are doing, because it has basically searched the entire internet and knows the terms. So when Rodney referred to HTML tags like H1, H2, H3, you can use it. So what I'm going to say is write a heading H1 for my web design agency. But what often happens with this is you're going to get, and I just press enter, you're going to get very big heading like this: revolutionize your online presence with our expert web design services. The great thing here is you tell it no more than 5 words. And there we go. Creative web design solutions. Bang. And you can even add other things in here. So I can say write a strong SEO heading. Let's see if it makes any changes. And this is how I keep playing with it. And it's giving me the same. It thinks it's already very, very strong. And one thing that many people don't know, even our team was very surprised when they saw me do it, is that you can instruct the AI to do it in your language. So if I say in French, and I'm just adding that at the end, it's going to give me something which I don't understand, but I can put it in a language I can speak, which is Afrikaans. Here in South Africa, top web design agency. That's not right. That's still English. They struggle with that one. But let's leave it in English. And this is where you can go through your H1s, and I'll just clean this up a little bit so it can look good for our display. And I'll go to this and put it on all caps. Great. You can see very similar to the H1 title that we had at the very beginning. And from there, you just bring in your text, you go through your page, you look at this, especially in your H1 and your H2, you want to have those keywords, and you can speak to the AI. Let them give you the most powerful solution for those texts and even the content. When you are looking at longer paragraph structures, go do that. Make it useful. So that's tip number 2. Make use of the AI. And if you don't have AI built into your builder, use ChatGPT, Gemini. I love Meta. What is it? It's Llama, but I love using Meta, Perplexity, Claude, all of them. Great stuff. Let's talk about tip number 3. And tip number 3 is what we often refer to as an external request or third-party request. And I'll go here to the bottom. I'm going to add a new section, and I'll bring in columns, and I'm going to work with video. Many people bring in YouTube videos. And what happens when you bring in a YouTube video on your landing page, on your home page, is the moment that page loads, there is a request sent to YouTube for that link. And that brings in a little bit of funkiness, maybe, and I see that a lot in comments. What is the consistency in SEO? And maybe we can ask Rodney that question again when we get to the Q&As. But what is good is if you can minimize those external links, those requests that happen, especially on your homepage, your landing page. So if I grab the video element here and I drag it in, it comes in with a placeholder video for these lines. And you can see if I go to the settings, there's already a YouTube link in there. What I'll do is I'll bring in video again, and I'll put it in this column. And what we recommend you do is actually to put a cover for that. And with the cover, you basically don't request that link yet. You keep it on hold until somebody clicks on it. So we go to the play settings over here, and there's a player, and you will see there we have an option to upload a cover image. And I'm pretty sure for those of you that you use other builders, you're going to find something very similar there as well. So I'll click on the cover image, and okay, I want a lion. So let me drag in these lions that I've brought in earlier. And once I do that, it's going to change a little bit. I have a player here, and you can set up your own thumbnail if you want to make it look like YouTube. But actually, if you don't make it look like YouTube, that's even better. And then we can style it out, and we can change the icon, bring in your own branding. And let's just go have a look quickly on the front end, what will happen here. So let's preview. And that is it. Did you see how quickly that was, right? I just made those changes, and there it is. That is what I mentioned at the beginning, the compiler. So here I have the video. When I click on it, it's going to play. But with this one, that link, that request has not happened. I have to click on it, and then you see it loads in that very moment. So if you have videos, try and minimize those, especially for your landing page. There are people who love to bring in a lot of videos. Remember, everything that moves brings in a little bit of data. There are ways to minimize that, but just think what you can do to optimize that, especially your landing page, your home page. And that brings us to images. Images are, I think, one of those big conversations that happen all the time. What should I do with my images? And people also have 1,000,002 reasons or opinions as when it comes to images. So I have these number of images. Long ago, we used bitmap, and then we are using JPEG images. We also use PNG for vector or for transparent backgrounds. But if you don't know, is that the recent trend or preferred method is to use a format called WebP. And I found in a recent little seminar I did is that no one knew what that was, and they all had websites. So if you have an agency, if you are a person with many clients, you definitely know what is WebP. But if you don't, this is like WebP, you're just messing with me. Again, another standard. No, this is actually very important. So WebP is another file format for images, and it is smaller than JPEG. So Google loves it. They absolutely love it. And when you are preparing your images for your website, you should really try and bring it into WebP. Now you can see the bottom of my screen. I have all these great fancy apps called Photoshop, AI, and not AI, Adobe Illustrator, and you pay for that. But actually, I use a free service, and it's called PhotoP. Let me just get that to create my WebP images. So what I will do is I will bring in a high resolution image, which is this strawberry, and I'll just drag it onto it. And this is for free, PhotoPEA, photop.com. It's free. There are some ads playing on the right. You can sign up full-time if you want to and pay, but otherwise you can use the free editor. First thing I will do is just crop it, and there's a nice crop tool here in the sidebar. Just crop it a little bit, and then I'll say yes. And then I go to File, Export As, and here are all the formats. And there's WebP, the one I was mentioning to you just now. And from here, you can see all the settings. The width currently is 2,720 pixels. No, because we are looking at something like this. So I'm happy with 600 pixels. Sometimes I just go for a number like 900 to be on the safe side, but I think 600 is fine here. So I'll just change the width, 600, and then I'll tap. It will automatically adjust the height. This is going to be really tiny, so I'll read it to you. The size of this image is currently 12.4 kilobyte. Now I will switch it to JPEG, and it goes to 26.1. That is double the size. So it depends a lot on the kind of image and the detail in that image you are using. But in this case, do you want to go for half-size image at the same quality? For sure. And another tip I'll give you here is avoid using 100% quality. Look at this image. This is how it will look. It's displaying at 100% good enough. It's nice, sharp, and crispy. If you feel it's a little bit muddy, you can increase the quality. But if I drag it up to 100%, there's really no noticeable difference, except that we went from, what was that, 12 kilobytes to 200 kilobytes. This is a big mistake many people make. They go for full quality, not necessary. So I'll just call this strawberry, so 001, and I'll save it. I'll hop back into my builder and I'll click on the avocado. We're going to replace the avocado. Go to my image and you'll see the image is in color. So I've applied a filter here to make it monochromatic in black and white. And I'll delete it and then I'll open my media library, go into my Explorer, crop it, 12 kilobytes. Yes, please. And I'll select it. And there we go. And I'll just reduce the zoom. Really nice. That is a great tip for optimizing your images. We can talk about that a lot. There are tools in WordPress that if you have a website full in JPEG, that can convert it into WebP. But I highly recommend that if you start new with new images, go for WebP. And a nice little feature we can do here is we can actually go to the filters and leave that and go for hover, and I'll just bring back the saturation. And this can be a nice link. So if someone hovers over it, that is how it creates. Right. And I think those are my tips that I have there. I hope that was something useful. Right. Rodney, am I still on or am I speaking to myself?
You're still on. That was great. I love the demonstration that you gave about the YouTube thumbnail, to load instead of the full video. That's very helpful for SEO.
Good. So let's get to our Q&A session. And I think I'll make us a little bit bigger here.
Okay.
And before we do that, I will just say again, I keep seeing this is now like a running joke for me. The number one question in a webinar is this available as a recording? And the answer is absolutely yes. And Julian Marin and John Kelly, we are live, right? So you guys, that's kind of what we want. We want this interaction with you as well, so that we can understand the level. Where can we help you guys? Do we need more beginner tutorials? Do we need more beginner content? Or what can we provide as next steps for making it loads more professional? Now, I know we have a few questions, but I want to start with one question that I think I highlighted, and this was one at the beginning, and I'm surprising Rodney here with a big one. As a beginner, SEO feels overwhelming. I struggle with understanding the basics like keywords, on-page SEO, and technical aspects. It's tough to keep up with Google's constant updates, and I'm unsure of what keywords to target. WordPress can be tricky to configure for SEO, especially with plugins and mobile optimization. I also find it hard to create optimized content, build backlinks, and track results. SEO takes time, and interpreting data from tools like Google Analytics can be confusing. So not much a question. I thought of throwing that one in there because it really encapsulates how many people feel about SEO.
Yes, you're right. And what I would say, I would kind of go back to what we talked about earlier, which is that keywords just mean language. I mean, keywords are just means the words that people are using to search for products and services that you offer or the topics that you're writing about. And so while it can be very complicated and very daunting to do keyword research, if you really just think of it, as what would I search for, at least to start with, what would I search for to find my own product? Ask your friend, ask somebody that you know from life that would be a potential customer or client or reader for your website, and say, what do you search for when searching for the type of thing that I offer with my business or on my site? That's a really, really great start, because even though we're trying to communicate with Google and rank higher and all these things, ultimately the end goal is to get in front of people. So you can never forget that really all of this comes down to communicating with people as well. And so while it is very daunting and it is time consuming, And there are lots of things that are involved. I think my just simple everyday checklist when I'm putting a new piece of content up has, over 30 things on that list that I check every single time. I mean, it is very involved, but ultimately, if you're creating really good content, and once you get the hang of some of the basics like we've shown you today, including the things that JP has shown you, once you get a handle on those, you can get a really good start with anything that you publish online and really set yourself up for success before you dig into some of those other small things. And just one more thing on that I would just mention. Yes, Google does have frequent updates, and it can cause a lot of fluctuation. But something I've learned from many, many years of doing this is if you follow that policy of having a really good basic structure, and having content that really is helpful and suitable and useful to the end user that you want to appeal to, you're much less affected by a lot of those constant changes, because ultimately, again, Google's goal is to serve high quality, relevant results to real people. And so if you've got the content that meets that criteria, that goes a long way in the face of all those constant changes.
Right, next one is from Paul. What are the risks and rewards of using generative AI processes in enhancing SEO rankings on Google? What are a few key best practices to minimize the risk? Now, I just showed AI and it's become my go-to friend, but sometimes common sense is also just something that comes in there, right?
Right. No, that's exactly right. So the risks are that that AI can sometimes generate incorrect information. AI can sometimes create duplicate content. It can, just depending on how you're interacting with it and the tool that you're using it can be really close to just plagiarized content from somebody else's website. In which case, your website could be penalized, and it could like worst case scenario, you could be penalized, and least worst case scenario, you just wouldn't get that content ranked. But the reward is that it is much faster, and it can create content using like a structure and a layout that is very, very high quality, especially if you're not a really, really experienced writer. And so what I would say a best practice is one, to practice with it. Two, to use AI to structure your own knowledge and the own exclusive information that you have. And so rely less on trying to take somebody else's information that an AI tool will generate for you, and using it to parse out your own really, really important information and the knowledge that you have about your business and your topic, and sort of using the tool in that way, rather than trying to come up with information that the AI tool will create on its own. And if you do use it for research, I mean, I definitely use AI for research for the content that I create today, but I always fact check it, and almost always, especially if it's like a longer form research project, it almost always something is incorrect, and so you really have to fact check to make sure that it's accurate, and to make sure that you're giving people information that is going to be useful and that they can rely on.
Great. Let's see. Steve says, does changing your navigation area affect rankings of your site? I know it's more about us than anything else.
I think I understand that. So, if we're talking about like for example, the top navigation, in my experience, yes. In a previous part of my life, but then also in just my work with Namecheap, we've spent a lot of time thinking about how our rankings are affected by changes to the top navigation on the page. And I can tell you with certainty from experience with multiple sites, that the pages that are linked in your top navigation are very important. And removing a page from the top navigation, or removing the top navigation altogether, will affect your rankings. Now, does that mean that your website will tank? Does that mean you'll lose everything or become an index? No, but it will change the way it will have an impact on the way that Google indexes your site and the pages within the site. So it is something that you want to test on a regular basis, and really think very critically about which pages are going to be the most useful to your customers, and where those are featured on the page.
Andrew says, do we need to use Bing Webmaster Tools?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question, Andrew, because I am personally a big fan of Bing Webmaster Tools. Now, that being said, the vast majority of searches on the internet are not on Bing. It is a very small percentage of actual people use Bing currently for their searches, but that is growing. And I personally, for my personal use, I use DuckDuckGo as my search engine because privacy and avoiding tracking is important to me. And so those results are populated through Bing Webmaster Tools as well. But that's like one reason that you can be there, is because there are people that use these tools, and engaging with something other than Google can help you pick up some of that traffic. Um, but the other reason that I like that is because Bing does offer quite a few free SEO tools, and there's a site scan feature. They will look at technical issues with your page. They will look at the site structure and give you advice on how to fix those for free. And you can export all of the information into spreadsheets. And that's something that Google Search Console does not give you, some of them anyway. And it's something that if you were to use a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs, they would charge you. You would have to pay a premium subscription to get some of that feedback from a search engine. And in my experience, every time I've addressed problems with a page based on a scan and Bing Webmaster Tools, it has helped my rankings on Bing, but it's helped me pick up a few extra keywords on Google as well. So yes, I think that's a very important tool.
Mohammed says this is more about promoting their own tools, and there is not enough valuable information. Even a 5-minute SEO video on YouTube cover more things than this 40 minutes so far.
Well, thank you for the feedback. I saw this in the chat earlier. And the one thing that I would say, and the reason that I thought that this was an interesting comment to respond to, is because even though we are using EasyWP hosting and Breezy Site Builder, and we're using EOS SEO, which is not one of our tools, but is one that I'm a fan of, and that I've used for many years. A lot of these principles that we've talked about can actually apply to anyone. If you can use any content management system. You can you can subscribe to Relate SEO even if your website isn't hosted on EasyWP. If you use another Namecheap hosting, or a site that's hosted elsewhere, all of these tools can be useful to you, and the principles that go into using them are really can apply to anybody who's trying to find more visibility online.
I think based on this, do people expect too much when they work with SEO? Do they, like, one of the questions that keeps coming up, especially on the international scale? I'm a web design agency. How do I get noticed amongst the masses? And has SEO been sold to us that, hey, do this and this and this, you'll be at the top ranking? And
Yeah,
it's not that easy. Even for WordPress management hosting, how difficult it is to get noticed, right?
yeah.
The more fish in the pond, the more difficult it becomes. So I kind of sometimes get the feeling that we implemented the tools that was given to us, and we're still not appearing there. We're still not
Mhm.
even on page one, and that starts this frustration that there is a secret sauce out there, and it's being promised that there is a secret sauce, right?
Right. Well, I will say, I will go on the record, to me, I don't think there is a secret sauce. I think there are some very public practices of optimization that are well reported and have been well tested by many people and agencies that do work. And I can speak from experience that if you continue to optimize a site over time, your rankings will have a positive impact. Now, you're exactly right. For certain phrases, for certain highly competitive keywords or topics, it may be unlikely that you would ever get to page one, just depending on when you started, who are the other competitors in the field. So I think it's important to think of SEO as one marketing channel and not your only marketing channel. The benefits of SEO is that once you've made the investment and once you've done some testing and once you've optimized, a lot of that work pays off for you for a long period of time. You can have a blog post or a page that once it starts ranking well, could potentially rank well for many, many years. Like once you've done the work to get there. But it does take time. So you really do need to think about SEO as a long-term investment, not a secret sauce shot in the arm. There's other marketing channels that might be better for instant results. But SEO is very, very good for long-term results. And it's also very good for finding users that have never heard of your brand before, but that are searching for the types of information or services that you offer.
Let's see, Buzz, how to do meta tags.
How to do meta tags? Well, meta titles and meta descriptions are kind of included in that meta tags umbrella. And so, as I mentioned earlier, once you've really identified your keyword, the language, we'll change the way we say it. Once you've identified the language that your customers are using, and you figured out how you want to talk about your own topics on the website, using those in the meta title and the meta description are very important. I will say that like meta keywords, meta tags in that way really don't have an impact anymore. If you For example, if you populate information that's duplicated into those, thinking why not, that can actually get in the way of your page being indexed properly. So I wouldn't just populate random information in there for no reason. But what appears on page and in the meta title and description and URL is going to be much more important than other things. And what I would also say, for me, one of the new meta tags, speaking of WordPress anyway, it's not really new, is to make sure and categorize your content, your blog content properly. Make sure that you've got all of your information organized in a really logical way. Because this helps customers find related content that they might be interested in, but then Google's algorithm also looks at that site structure as well.
Interesting question. Where is the SEO data stored or can be edited? Is that maybe to relate SEO?
Could be. So if it's Relate SEO, it's kept in your dashboard. So if you are logged into your Namecheap account and you go to your apps area, or you go into your EasyWP dashboard in the add-ons area, those are places where you can access the Relate SEO. Um, but if this just kind of in terms of in a broad sense just means like your search history and your search tracking, that can be found in Google Search Console, which we've got a guide on easywp.com that shows you how to connect to Google Search Console. It was on our agenda, but we didn't have time to get to it today. That's where you would go in, you would plug in your sitemap that has a list of all of your pages, request indexing, all of those things. And then Google will give you free information about how your site is appearing online. It's not complete information, but they will give you some free information about how your pages are performing online.
And usually Google Console looks a little bit daunting at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very daunting, especially if you just do one website in your life. But connecting your website, I did one last week, and it was really very simple. You
Yeah.
add it, and you add a little indexing to your DNS records. Yeah, it sounds a little bit daunting, but they are very helpful in explaining to you how to do that. So very, very helpful with that. Is there a free tool that gives me like a SEO report that gives me my current ranking and also my weak points? Everybody would like that too.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, the first answer to that is Relate SEO is free for 3 months when you subscribe to an annual plan. So you can try that for free. SEMrush does have some tools that are free, but as far as a really in-depth, ongoing ranking tool, you really the people that build those really do typically charge for those. But there are a few ways that you can kind of get around that. One of them is with Bing Webmaster Tools, which we've already talked about. They will, if you connect to Bing Webmaster Tools, while the search volume is much lower than it is on Google, you can do a free SEO site scan there. I think you have multiple per month that you can do, and it will identify the weak spots that you have and give you advice on how to fix that. So going back to that tool, that's kind of like a secret weapon that a lot of people aren't using. You really can get accurate information for free from Bing, but Google Search Console will have some information as well. And I would also say that if you're really looking for something, if you really want to invest some time and some energy in SEO, kind of take a look at some of those premium tools, see if they offer a free trial, see if they offer a Black Friday deal that's coming up, and consider investing just a tiny bit of money in those tools, because the information that you get about keyword rankings and how your pages are performing online, what your competitors are ranking for, all of that information, once you see it, can be very informative for you in managing your own site and the content that you'll build in the future.
I think let's do 2 more questions and then we'll get to our giveaways. And I have a cat that is making zigzag entrances here. So let's have a look at Patrick's asked, how do you determine the right keyword strategy when starting with a new website?
Ooh, a big question. So the right keyword strategy is to identify the words that people are using and look for patterns in the way that people are searching for your product or the topic that you're publishing about, and then to use that language on your website. That's just the simplest that I can put it. You want to see what people are searching for, and then you want to mirror that language. It's almost like they give you the tips when you go into a job interview, and the prospective boss asks you a question, and then you want to use that language that they use and try to mirror them, and in order to connect with them and really answer their questions. The same thing is true on a website. So except the person that you're being interviewed by are those users out there on the internet. And so go on Google and search for your product, search for your topic, and then look at the results page and see what the language is that other people are using, that other sites are using. Look at the questions, the also ask questions. You just look at the predictive search on Google or on any search engine that you like to use. Look at those predictive alternative searches and make a list of those, and see how many of those make sense for the topics that you're talking about on your website, and then use those. That's really always going to be the best strategy. And then when you find those questions, make sure that the information that you provide is accurate, that it's actually genuinely helpful. That's really the best keyword strategy. Now, we can go into specifics earlier than that, but I think that might be another webinar.
All of these questions can be other webinars. Now,
Yeah.
Michael asked this, and I want to raise this one because sitemap actually is not only Michael who raised this. Many people ask about sitemaps, and I think if people who are watching didn't know what a keyword is, sitemap is going to scare the living daylights out of them. But sitemap importance, and again, I would almost say sitemap is a webinar by itself.
Yeah, sitemaps could be a webinar by themselves. Sitemaps, to me, are still relevant to me. Anytime I'm working with a brand new site, the day that it launches, I add a sitemap to Google Search Console and to Bing Webmaster Tools, because it gives me a link to communicate directly with both of those search engines. There's perception that we can't talk to Google. And to a certain extent that's true, but by using Google Search Console, validating your site and submitting the sitemaps, that gives you the ability to say, hey Google, I want you to crawl every single page on this list. And just to kind of define it, a sitemap is an automatically generated list of all of the pages either on your site or in certain sections of your site. So for example, if you use WooCommerce, there will be a sitemap for your products. If you're doing a blog, there will be a sitemap for your blog, for your pages. again, we can go into that whole webinar. But yes, they're absolutely still relevant, and it's one of the one, like I said, it's one of the top ways that I use to communicate with search engines that I've got a new site that needs to be indexed.
Great. So, Rodney, I'll remove you for a few seconds so you can get the winners ready. And then I'll quickly just talk again about EasyWP's Telegram channel, because there are so many questions asked tonight from beginner to expert level about SEO, the nightmare. I love this one quote from AR that says, "I'm in an SEO psychological void and seriously fearing the unknown." And I know for many people that is how you feel, but there are so many tools out there to help you. Unfortunately, it will never be covered just in one go, because it starts with concepts. The only thing I can kind of recommend is that you start at some point, but the best way is to join the EasyWP Telegram channel, because there is a great WordPress community there, and there are going to be links in the channel shared after this webinar. And that will give you access to Namecheap's 6-module SEO course. Very, very important if you want to go through those steps, and that link will be there in the Telegram channel. And if you want to know what the link to the Telegram channel is, check in the chat at the very top. It is pinned. And then there you can also ask questions. And now and again, there are some gurus, SEO gurus and aficionados that are there, and they will bring you various topics from SEO to other strategies that you can implement to make your website grow. Now that we have done that, I'm just going to skip to this slide, and that's the live demo, Q&A, and giveaway. And we bring back for Rodney. Right, Rodney, I'm going to give you the solo platform here.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it. So we're coming to the end of our time. And so I do just want to remind you, and I think we'll get it up on the screen, but everybody that's attended today is getting early access to our Black Friday deals for new subscriptions to EasyWP Turbo and Supersonic. The offer link is pinned in the chat, so you can use that. We'll also send it to you. We've also got it. We'll have it available in Telegram. So lots of places where attendees of this call will have access to get that special discount. But we do have some very, very special winners of our grand prizes today. So the first winner, which is for a 30-minute one-on-one SEO consultation with me, is Lorinda Barnes. So congratulations, Lorinda. I look forward to learning more about your business and your website, and connecting with you. I think we're going to have a lot of interesting things that we can go over. Another top prize that we had today is a subscription to Namecheap's Relate SEO Pro product for a full year. And the winner of that is Joman Thomas. So congratulations, Joman. And then we have our, you'll be contacted. Everybody that I'm mentioning that's a winner will be contacted with details about how to claim your prize. These are all selected at random by our team behind the scenes. And then our surprise giveaway, which was for people who attended this call and stuck with us, was for 5 winners who are now all webinar attendees and are now the proud recipients of EasyWP Turbo yearly subscriptions for a full year. And those 5 winners are Sarah Silva, Jen B, Henry Sokai, Andrew Carew, and Louise Dutton. So thank you so much for attending. I'm so excited that you'll be getting to try EasyWP. So those of you who have never tried it before, we look forward to having you on board, letting you experience our great cloud hosting, and then talking with you about it in Telegram.
And that brings us to the end. And check your names down there. We did find last time that a name that we announced, there was like 5 people with the same name. So that is possible. So wait until you get a confirmation email afterwards before you go out and make a big party tonight. We do have many people with the same names out there. But again, I just think from my side, this partnership with EasyWP and Brizzy, it's great to bring these different worlds together here. We're all around WordPress, and we're all trying to put websites out there that are fast and that can easily be found. And the one thing that I take away every time from these webinars is we sit and we carefully work on the agenda before the time, and it's back and forth and back and forth. And then in the webinar, you realize how big the topic is and how many people are there with various needs. And it really shapes how we go forward. So for your contribution, taking the time off today, this hour plus, for joining the webinar, can't thank you enough. I know some of you are probably lying in bed with the cell phone like this and just listening to the audio and just going to turn your head. And the rest of you, maybe some of you are brushing your teeth on your way to work. Thank you very much for your time. From me, JP, Brizzy, check us out at brizzy.io. And if you want to know more about our builder, we have loads of videos on YouTube. You'll find the link to the channel also at our website. So anything you need, that's my job. And if it's not there, just send a message. I'll take care of it.
Yes, and I'm Rodney. Yeah, I'll say goodbye as well. I'm Rodney with EasyWP. We're so glad that you joined us today. It's been really, really fun to share this information with you. We've got a lot of resources about SEO on our easywp.com blog, also on our namecheap.com blog. And so we look forward to seeing you there and helping you make your websites even better.
Yeah, and the cat stealing the show at the end cannot find a rest. So thank you. Cheers, Rodney. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.